I started collecting something from each girl I slept with: the bra, panties, jewelry, and so on, not for some creepy reason, but because it was part of my plan. Sometimes I didn't even have to try. One girl left a pair of very recognizable shoes at my place. I knew Lisa would instantly recognize them. They belonged to the same girl who had hooked up with her ex after they broke up. That had infuriated Lisa before because it was her friend, and now it would drive her even crazier. Because that same girl had now slept with both of her exes, I collected things Lisa could identify, like a team hoodie with the name of her track teammate on it. Over time, I had gathered a full collection. A few months later, one of the guys dating one of Liz's friends found out that his girlfriend had slept with me, and that set off a huge, beautiful, dramatic explosion. Everything came to light. The girls on Liz's team found out about each other. It was total chaos. It escalated so much that even their coaches had to get involved. Things got so intense that I felt like a god of destruction. I started getting drunk on the realization of how much chaos I had created. But the biggest moment of it all was that same week when the university's basketball PR team put up massive posters of my face all over campus to promote the next game. They were everywhere, some even covered entire building walls. Lisa and her friends had to see my face every single day while the drama around them raged on. I felt like a triumphant dictator. It was both pathetic and glorious. Liz's track coach was so furious that he scheduled an official meeting with the administration and my coaches. My coaches just laughed it off. They said, "This looks like an internal issue with your team. Our player hasn't broken any laws or university rules, so there's nothing we can do." That made Liz's coach explode. Her team started to fall apart. Their national ranking dropped. Then that same coach was spotted tearing down my posters around campus in a full-blown tantrum. And I enjoyed every second of it. I kept adding fuel to the fire, posting photos on Facebook and Instagram with girls, smiling, looking happy. I used every opportunity, but inside, I was rotten. I had sunk so deep into my new mindset that I completely forgot what kind and naive guy I used to be. I hated my old self for letting some girl castrate my self-esteem. I drowned in self-pity. Looking back now, it makes me sad. But at the time, no one noticed because I kept up the mask of the cool guy. There was even one girl from a sports team who later claimed she was pregnant by me. I pretended to be in love with her, just like I had with the other friends of Lisa. But as soon as we slept together, I bailed. It's a long story, but it turned out she wasn't actually pregnant. Still, the rumors spread and it became yet another knife in Liz's back. I left a trail of destroyed relationships behind me. I ruined them. Now I'm ashamed, but back then, I didn't care at all. To me, those girls weren't victims. They were just as guilty, cheating on their boyfriends or hooking up with their friend's ex. Very quickly, girls started avoiding me, and I had almost exhausted the list of targets. By then, I was just a disgusting person. I wasn't even hunting only her teammates anymore. I started going after girls who were just part of her everyday life, classmates, acquaintances, even her sister. I flirted with her married sister who had a child and nearly got my way. She was ready, but Lisa and her father found out and stopped it before anything happened. After that, the family just stopped talking to Liz's sister. I wanted Lisa to know I was everywhere, that every day would remind her she messed up in my eyes. This was all her fault. She unleashed this chaos, and now she had to live with it. Lisa eventually fell into deep depression. She had to take a medical leave from school. She began to lose weight, looked terrible, and lived on medication. She hit rock bottom, and the worse she got, the better I felt. By that point, I had already done more damage to her than she had ever done to me, but I was addicted to that feeling of power. I didn't spend a second processing my emotions or letting things go. All I wanted was more revenge. Then came the final blow. After a week of ignoring her messages and calls, Lisa showed up at my place late one night without warning. She came to get the stuff she had left behind when she lived with me. She no longer lived on campus because of me. She had moved back in with her parents. I told her I would bring her stuff to her on the weekend. But I wouldn't let her inside because I had guests. And yes, there really were guests, but unfortunately for her, they weren't just any guests. They weren't her friend or anyone she knew. Then I took all the items I had collected from various girls, including her teammates, probably 8 or 9 in total, stuffed them into black trash bags, mixed them with her belongings, and dropped everything off at her house. Then I called her father and said, "I left Liz's stuff on your porch. Give it to your demonic daughter." Her father and I always got along, and even after our breakup, he had been on my side. But after my stunts, he obviously changed his opinion of me. About 15 minutes later, Liza called. I answered. I wanted to hear her reaction to the surprise I left. She was crying hysterically. It wasn't even anger, it was just begging. She was literally pleading with me to stop. I smirked and said, "There were other guys in our relationship, right? Well, now you've got other girls mixed in with your stuff just like you mixed them with us." At the time, I thought it was a brilliant metaphor. Now, it just makes me want to punch myself. Later, I found out from one of her friends who knew Liza had cheated on me that Liza had actually convinced herself that I was the one who cheated on her. Total nonsense. I was constantly traveling for basketball official trips you could check on the university website. I always stayed in touch with her when I was out of town. Though obviously during practices, meetings, and games, I couldn't be on my phone. But Liza didn't use her brain to connect the dots. Most likely, it was just some excuse she made up for herself to justify her behavior to others. Months passed. Liza returned to the university after her medical leave. We ran into each other by chance at the physical therapy center in the sports complex. I saw it as another opportunity. Enough time had passed since I had last hurt her, and I still wanted more revenge. I put on an actor pretending I wanted to fix things and try again. At first, she was cautious, but eventually, she gave in. After about a week, we started getting back together. It lasted about a month, but it wasn't really a relationship. I forbade her from talking to men, from going to parties with her friends. I demanded full access to all her accounts and real-time location tracking. It wasn't love, it was a prison sentence. I loved the feeling of control. Meanwhile, I wasn't faithful to her for a single second, but that had been the plan from the beginning. Eventually, she found out I was sleeping with a girl from her class, and we had a loud, scandalous breakup. I told her, "Now you know how I felt when we were together."